So the Alter Rebbe continues to explain the posik that we're saying simani kichoisem. I mean, the whole Mamer is short. It's like points, but we get the two levels of service of Hashem. Whether it comes with a level of ahava, it's called the level of smoil tachas leroishi, or a level of bittel, a level of yira, which is yemine techabkeni. And he says that the level of bittel reaches in, the level of yira, the tefillin shel roish, reaches into a higher level, to the level of the makif. You have the oisiyos and you have it written on a parchment. The parchment carries the letter, and the parchment is this skin, which means it's the surrounding, it's the makif. And that of the shalroish, those strap, that is on the heart of the person. That becomes Yiminit Chabkeni. He says the straps that you come down from the shalroish, that is the Eibishter's sort of hug that he holds on to a yid so that he should stay connected. So he continues, Vizehu simani kachoisem al libecho. So going back to the verse, this is what it means, simani kachoisem al libecho. Ki azo kamoves ahavo. Because love is as powerful as death. So the Yidden basically are asking Hashem to put them, make them as a choisem, as a seal on libecha, the Eibishter's heart. What does it mean? It means to say that even though the fact that it is a choisem, which means that there is a descent, we want to be able, Hashem, to be with us even in the descent. Let's see what he explains. Just like the soul. The neshama doesn't need the body. That means azo kamovis, which means it doesn't want death. The neshama wants the body, and the body separating is very difficult for her. Why is it difficult for the neshama? L'chayre, the neshama dressing up in the body is very restricted. You take a neshama, the neshama doesn't need the body, can live without the body, and yet it's difficult for the neshama when the body leaves it. Hagam shehaguf machshich umaylim es oir haneshama. Although the body darkens and obscures the light of the neshama, still it has a hard time when the body leaves it. Why? Lefi shehaguf hu hakli lahaneshama. Because the body is the vessel for the neshama. It's a vessel for the neshama, and therefore the neshama has a hard time when it leaves the body. Kach mevakeshes Knesset Yisrael. So likewise, the Knesset Yisrael is asking, Simani kichoisem alibecha, that the Eibishter should put us like a seal on the heart of Hashem, meaning in Hashem's tefillin, in Hashem's presence, just like a seal, to be always on the heart. Even though that to come down into the to come down into the avoda, to the Knesset Yisrael, that's taking the oir, the light of the Ein Sof, and making it dark and hidden, that it comes down. Quoting from the Zohar, the Ozil Ona v'Ona, because it goes here and there, but it says the Yukna Ishto Erboch, the Yoken, an image remains in there, which means the light of Hashem, when it comes down into the world, into Knesset Yisrael, it's descending, it's Choshech V'Helem, it goes here and there, and only the Yoken image remains by you. What does that mean? Who B'chinas Habitl B'Shmoina Esrei. In Avodah, what it means is that throughout the regular day, the Knesset Yisrael by the Jewish people, when they're busy, they're running here and there all over the place, and they're lacking that connection. But we're saying, but still, the Yukne Shtorbach Ubchinas Habitl B'Shmoina Esrei, the subjugation to Hashem, when we do the Amidah, that remains. Explains it also in Avodas Hashem. Although after the davening, the love that he had to Hashem goes by and passes, and it's not existent, it's ozil ono. It should be like a seal. So what does it mean should be like a seal? It should be his right hand hugs me, which means holding him. Sometimes we say hugging means in the front. You are approaching somebody and you're hugging them. Here, the hugging means you're hugging them from the back and you're holding them, they shouldn't fall down. It's like one who's hugging his friend from his back. To hold him, you're holding him so he doesn't fall. So even if this is only the level of Achorayim, it's only the back, which means we're not facing Hashem, we're not directly connected to Hashem, it's only the back. What does it mean? That's when the person is going here, there. He's not connected to Hashem, not during the davening. Still, we should be mipnei shekneses Yisrael hu b'chinas kli, because the Bnei Yisrael is a kli. Just like we said that the body is a kli to the neshama, and that's why the neshama doesn't want to leave the body. It's kosher lepridoso. Is the Knesset Yisrael is a kli. So even when it's only the level of Achorayim, still simanik yichosim to be always connected. Where do we see that Knesset Yisrael is a kli? Ukamei Kosov, the pasuk says, Noise klei Hashem. They carry the kelim of Hashem. A pasuk in Yeshaya. So that means that they are the vessels of Hashem, which means not all the time. During the davening, he's in a level of bittul. And that's why, and that says specifically what ishta'er. It says the yukna ishta'er bach. Ishta'er means remains, meaning something that you had before. You were connected by the davening, and this remains, as we say, liyos halavai she'yipalel odom kol hayom kinal. Halavai, that a person davens all day. Halavai, the person davens all day means halavai, that you have the hemshech, that ribuk, that holding you from your back and to making sure that you continue that prayer that you daven, that bittul that you had during the time of the davening Shemini Esrei to be nimshach throughout the day. Now, ba'ayin b'zoyer v'yichid, daf reish mem dalet seif amid beis, b'daf reish mem hei, u'b'mishpotim daf kuf yudalet amid alf. Then he also brings in the zehu isha kisazriya v'yolda zochar. So we're talking about the choisem shoikeya, the second level, the level of yira, the level of tefillin shel rosh. That is what? That is the choisem shoikeya. And we said through the choisem shoikeya, you get the choisem boilet milmailo, you get from above. This also fits in with the isha kisazriya. A woman, when Zriya is v'yolda zochar, she gives birth to a male. So while the female is the level of shekeya, it's sunk in, but it gets a zochar which protrudes. As we said, Amr Razal, our sages tell us, Isha mazras t'chilo yeled zochar. When the woman starts the seed first, you get a zohar. Pirush. So what it means like this. When the elevation, the sarusa, dilatato, the alo mimat l'maylo, is in a way that it's sunk in, shkia, ki yisoid nukva shekeya, because the yisoid of the feminine is sunk in. So that is v'bichinas hayira. That's the level of fear versus the level of ava. Ava v'yira. Ava is the level of protrudes, har. The level of yira is shekeya. That's the feminine's yisoid is shekeya, is sunk in. And this is similar. We see yira by the feminine, ki inyan, batisatzav achoisoy meirochik, that his sister of Moshe stood from a distance, meaning Ava pushes you close, Yira pushes you back from a distance. You're afraid to come close, the level of Yira. So through the level of Isha Kisazriya Mazras Tchilo, the level of Shekeya, but the birth that she gives is a zochar. Shenimshach milmaylo, that from above it comes down. You draw down milmaylo. B'chinas choisem boilet. You bring down the choisem boilet, the seal that protrudes. And this is also what we say. And the pasuk says, "Vitze etzav chosam ba'ois bris kodesh," that he sealed them with a bris kodesh, which means that's the level of bris, the soid of the zochar, which is a choisem boilet. Ba'ayim ha'shekoseh b'parshas vayakel al posik chu meitchem trumo be'inyan iskafia v'ishapcha. But there, as it discusses the idea of iskafia v'ishapcha, eich shal yidei iskafia, through the level of iskafia, that would be pushing yourself, which is the level like yira, the level of shekeya. B'bchinas nafshi ka'ofer, pushing himself in iskafia in a level of nafshi ka'ofer. Ma'oirer isarusa de la'elo, so you arouse in this rusa leilo mibchinas seviv kol almin, from the level of seviv kol almin. That's lemailo mimashe ma'oirer aidei bchinas ishapcha chulu. That is higher than you get through ishapcha. That would be through the choisem boilet, but through the choisem shekeya, through the level you get a higher level you get from the oira seviv ein shom. This is mamish like explained over here. He translates over there. It talks about the toichachem. It says va'ofur eser noshim lachmon betanur echad. Over there, the pasuk says 10 women will use one oven to bake the bread. But over there, he explains that the eser noshim represents the level of all the spheres. And the spheres will be in a way of nukva, of feminine. What it means to say, that the 10 powers of the soul will be in the feminine. Because right now we're explaining the feminine, that's the chosim sheikeya, which gets the level of Zohar. Mazriyat Chila gets the higher level. So what it explains over there, what does it mean that it's going to be in a level of Nukva? It's going to be Shekeya. It's going to be in a way of a recipient, the Hainush. So explain Sheyeda Shebe'emes HaToiv Sheyesh Bo Hu Mekabel Zeh Milmaylo. That is, that he knows that the good that he has in himself, it's not his, he gets it from above. It's like a makabel, like the feminine who's a makabel. Shebal ha'emes noisen lo ha'emes. The master of truth, which means Hashem gives him that level of truth. Al derech v'havaye yagia choshki chulu. That it is Hashem that shines, lights up my darkness. This is also the idea of Ishut Azriya, meaning the level of Mekabel of as a Noshim. So that's the idea of Ishut Azriya. Now, there's another parenthesis here, long parenthesis, explaining another way of this Simani Kechoisem. Oid yesh loymar b'inyan Simani Kechoisem shehem tefillin. There's another idea we can say, place me like a choisem, which is the tefillin, as is discussed before. Tefillin shel yad, tefillin shel rosh, level of avad, level of yira, the various different response from the choisem shekeh, choisem balut. He gives another interpretation in the idea of Simani Kechoisem, which is tefillin. Kihine inyan hakadosh baruch hu maniach tefillin. What is the idea that Hashem puts on the tefillin? See in the Gemara brachas over there, tefillin the Gemara alma maksima. What is written? The Eibishter tefillin. The Eibishter puts on tefillin. Hainu, what it means is mashe nimshach oir ein sof umeir b'chochma b'nechulu. That is that the infinite light, the ein sof, extends to and shines in the level of chochma b'nechulu. And therefore, the parsha Rishon in Hashem's tefillin, the Gemara over there in Bracha says, Nemar, over there it says, Ki mi goy godel chulu, umi goy godel. These are the psukim that the pasuk describes the greatness of Yid. And the reason is because ki hi chochma ilah, because that is the level in the first parsha, is the level of Chochma Ilah. That's the Chochma of Atzilus, is in the first parsha, that's in the Tefillin. The Eibush that puts on the Tefillin means the Ein Sof dresses up in Chochma. Ubi Islapshus Ein Sof b'Chochma Ilah. And when the Ein Sof dresses up in Chochma, and then the Iraisa b'Chochma Nafkis, then the Torah comes from Chochma. So the Ein Sof that comes in Chochma, and then Torah comes from there. Azai Yisrael Nidim Goy Gadol, then we appear as a big nation. because we get the Ein Sof. That's why it's going Gadol, because they didn't get the level of Chochmah. Ukemesh is Boyer Shom B'Dibur HaMaschil Ki Imcha Mekir Chaim, and then Mamer B'Inyan Hashkifa Me'in Kotzcha U'Baruch Samch Yisrael Chulu Yu'in Shom. So first we established that the idea is here Hashem puts on tefillin means to come down in the level of Chochmah. B'Hinei HaChochmah Nikra Choisem. Chochmah is called a Choisem. K'mei shekosu b'dibur hamaschil eila masei b'inyan bayichtov Moshe. So why is it called Choisem? Ki choisomai shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu emes. What is Hashem's seal is emes. V'zohu madrigas hachochmah, and this is the level of Chochmah. Level of Chochmah is emes. So that's why Chochmah is called Choisem. That's the Eibish's Choisem. V'zohu simani kachoisem shebitfilin demore almo shehem chesoma shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is place me like a Choisem in the tefillin of the Master of the world, Hashem's tefillin. Shehem chesoma shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That is the seal of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The tefillin, the Chochmah, the level of Chochmah, which is in the Chochmah Maksibuhu Ki mi goy gadol chulu. It says in goy gadol. So we're asking Hashem to keep us in that level of Chochmah, as the Choisem is the emes, Hashem's Choisem, to keep us over there, which means that we should be able to benefit from the level of Chochmah. Af ki achshav eisisenu loy ro'inu. So now we don't see signs, and we're not at the level. So it almost seems like we're not the goy gadol. We're not the gadol because we don't have a way of getting the chochmah. Zeu lefi shaham shocha mibchinas choisem shekeya. That is because the hamshocha comes from a choisem shekeya, from a sunken choisem, which does not come down in a revealed way now in the time of Golus. But in the future to come, over there it says, Ki ayin be'ayin yiru. Eye to eye you will see. Zehu inyan choisem boilet. That's the idea. Then we will get the choisem boilet. Simani kechoisem, meaning to be the choisem boilet, to get a sense, the ayin be'ayin, we'll be able to see that level of chochmah, level of the insof. V'hainu lefi sheyiyeh gilui b'chinas chochmah ilah, because there will be a revelation of the level of chochmah ilah, which is stima d'chol stim d'cholu, which is the hidden of all things that are hidden. And this is what we're saying. That's the second, the Simani al Zreyecha. This is Kechoisem al Libecho. This should be the Choisem al Libecho, meaning that the seal Becho v'yimineitim chabkeni, to hug me with the right hand. B'chinas chesed de legav hanikra chesed dikshoit, in a way of chesed of the external, meaning to reach out, to come to the person, to the, which is called chesed dikshoit, the chesed of truth. Either Rabbi Kuf Lamed Gimel Beis, Bechinas Mekoir HaEmes, which is the source of the truth. That he is the real one truth and nobody besides him. So that's the level that should be revealed in the person. So based on this, we can say what the Gemara says in Perikama, the Tainis Davdalid, explain that Shnei Dvorim Sholo Knesses Yisrael Sholoi Kehoigen. The Gemara says there that there were two things that Knesses Yisrael did not ask properly, but V'HaKadosh Baruch Hu Heishiv Kehoigen. And Hashem responded in a proper way. Number one, it says, Vayovoi Kageshem. They asked Hashem should come like rain. But V'HaKadosh Baruch Hu Heishiv. But what did the Eibishter answer? Eya Katal, be like dew. Rain has to come through work below, but Katal, dew comes above without. Isarusa dilatato, as we'll see. So that's the first thing that was not properly asked for. Gave her like do. Habeis, the second thing is the Yidden asks Simani Kachosem. Put me like a seal. V'Hakadosh Baruch Hu Hey Shiva Hein Al Kapayim Chakoisich. The Rebbe said, but I held you on my hands. So much more than just a seal al libecha, but Kapayim Shir Hashirim Rabba B'Posik Simani Kachosem B'Vura Inyan Barichas Yosef. Over there in Shir Hashirim Rabba, of this explained a greater length. So it explains now. Inyan Vayovei Kegeshem. They said, "Come Kegeshem." Zay Inyan Isaruso de Le'ela Habo Alidei Isaruso Lutato. That's the idea of an Isaruso de Le'ela that comes through and razzle below, because Ve'ed Yalachulu, the cloud comes from the ground, and then the rain comes down. So it comes up milamato, and then it comes down the rain milmaila. Avol Eya Katal, but when it says Eya Katal, that's who is Sarusa de Leilo Shenimshcha Me'eleho Shelo Yalidei Sarusa de Latata. That's an Sarusa de Leilo that comes on its own, not through Sarusa de Latata, because it's Mebechina Sheini Sarusa de Latata Magashom. It's from a level which the Sarusa de Latata cannot reach there. Mashakosu b'Makamachab Dibra Maschil Hazinu Hashemoy. So, okay, so that's explains the first thing, that they only wanted to ask for a place where the Sarusa de Latata reaches, and the Eibishter gives them Ketal, a higher level where the Sarusa de Latata does not reach. And the same thing is in the second part, when they said Inyan Simani Kechoisem, in which the Yidden asks Simani Kechoisem, and the Eibishter answers, he carries them on his laps. Now, Derech Moshul HaChoisem Hu Asiya Gashmis. A seal is a physical act, meaning you make a seal. You engrave your name on the seal so that you stamp your name, which is on the seal. But still, Hukiyum al kol davar. It substantiates, it's your seal, it's a signet. If you want to make it a signed document, a kiyum is you stamp it. That is the level of the seal. So, Buhu Inyan Chochma Ilah. So that could be the level of Chochma Ilah. Shenikra Chosoma Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu Emes. That is called the seal of Hashem Emes. But this is not yet the highest target. We're asking for Chochma. The Eibishter will give us even a higher level. Chochma is called, by Hashem, it's called Asiya. It's like a doing external. And there is two levels in the Chochma, in the seal. There is a protruding Chosem and a sunken Chosem, which is Chochma Ilah, Chochma Tatokinal, the upper level of Chochma and the lower level, as mentioned earlier. So what's the intent when we ask Hashem Simani k'choisem is can be slapshus Ein Sof b'chokhmah. That when Ein Sof gets up in chokhmah, the Reise b'chokhmah nafkis, that the Torah comes from chokhmah. Shom nira Knesset Yisrael, the Dover Choshev Ma'id Naila. Over there, Knesset Yisrael appears like a very important thing, which is very elevated. Why? Because you see in Torah, Shebechol HaTorah, Ne'emar, in Old Torah it says, Daber b'nei Yisrael, Tzabes b'nei Yisrael chulu. So it's an elevated level. But when we talk about the level of Chokhmah, over there, over there, the Yidden are not Toifes Mokim, they're not a Dover Godel because the righteousness doesn't help them. Im Tzedakta Matitin Lechulu. V'lochein Bakosha, Biksha, and that's why what does she request? Simani K'choisem Davke. We want to be Choisem, we want Chokhmah Law. We don't want higher than Chokhmah Law because higher than Chokhmah Law, you would not be able to tell the Mila of a Yid. The Mila of Kimi Godel, which is in the Tefillin, in the level of Chokhmah, the Parshas Kaddish, the Tefillin, that's Davke by the level of Chokhmah. So we want to be K'choisem, K'choisem Sh'lakadosh Baruch Ham is the level of Chokhmah Law. And even the level which is called Chosem Beled, which is Bechinas Gilui Niflois, a revelation of wonders, from Yitzias Mitzrayim. And not like we don't see it. In other words, when there is a tremendous Gilui, it's a Chosem Beled from the level of Chokhmah, we do get, it's not like Osein Leirin, but we do get revealed. But still, Hariksiv, the Pasuk says, Oisei Pella. That even the Pella is Asiya. Shegam Bechinas Pella, who Asiya Gashmi is Etzla Yisbarich. Also, the level of Niflois is still physical. Asiya Be'ev. Shenikra Adoin HaNiflois. He's the master of Niflois. Which means it's on a even the greatest level of Chosem Boilet and Niflois and everything else, he is beyond the Niflois. He's the master of it. So the Yidden are asking for the level of Chokhmah Ilah, and which but is limited because it's still a level of Asiyah. But the Yidden Be'emesin are much higher than the level of Machshava. So this is what the Shem is saying, and this is the idea al kapayim chakoisich bechinas oisyos hachakukim be'atzmusay yizbarech. That is the level. Kapayim chakoisich talks about the level in which the Yidden are engraved in the Atzmus, meaning a much higher level than the level of Chokhmah. Mashe enkein hachoisem hu oisius hachakukim bedover nifred, as opposed to the choisem, which is the letters that are engraved in something else. It's in Asiya. There, it's actually in the essence. V'ayin mashekosov aposik im b'chukoisai telechu v'aposik zeis chukas haTorah v'inyan golif giluf v'turei ilah. That's the level of golif giluf v'turei ilah. Shalamayla mehachochma, which is higher than chochma b'shom sheidish neshama Yisrael chulu, and over there is the root of neshama Yisrael. So he explains when the Gemara says that the Yidden wanted to be like a Chosem because they wanted the level of Chokhmah. because that's where there is godless, but that's still all a level of Asiya. And what we want to accomplish is, even the Eibishter says, I give them even the higher level, the level in which the Yidden are in the level of Chakika, in Atzmus, which is the level of Goliv Gilufa B'Tiru Ilah, which is much higher than the level of Chokhmah. And this is all the Eibishter saying to them, the higher level that he gives them. All right, so this is actually a little bit of a difficult Mamer that we just learned.